Letters I Never Sent. Romantic drama. Setting: Seattle, Washington. The letter. The letter changed everything. Madeline Foster had built a careful, life-predictable, quiet, and meticulously guarded. Her students adored her for her calm wisdom, and her colleagues saw her as dependable and professional. But beneath the surface, she lived with one unanswered question: why did Andrew leave? She'd buried that pain beneath lesson plans, coffee mugs, and evenings spent correcting essays while jazz music played softly in the background. But when she opened that anonymous envelope with the Oregon postmark, the past clawed its way back to the surface. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know the truth. She stared at the words, her heart pounding like it hadn't in years. The next day, seeking a distraction, she wandered into a little antique bookstore on a side street near Pike Place Market. She hadn't planned it. She just walked in, as if drawn by something she couldn't explain. That's when she met Liam Archer. He stood behind the counter, reading the bell jar. A scar curved just below his left eye, subtle, but noticeable. He looked up as she stepped in. You look like you're either lost or looking for something very specific, he said with a small smile. Closure, she said. Liam paused for a beat, then led her silently to the poetry section and handed her a worn copy of Letters to the Ones We've Lost. She took it and left without another word. Between pages. Over the next few weeks, Madeline returned. Sometimes she bought a book, sometimes she didn't. But Liam began to notice that she always came in after a long pause outside, as if she were debating whether to let herself feel something that day. One afternoon, as rain streaked the windows and the store was nearly empty, he offered her tea. You don't talk much, he said as he poured. But you carry a silence that's familiar. She raised an eyebrow. That's supposed to be romantic. He grinned. It's supposed to be honest. She stared at the tea for a long moment before saying, 3 years ago, the man I was going to marry left. No explanation, just gone. A week ago, I got a letter. I don't know what he wants, or why now. Liam didn't flinch. People leave for all kinds of reasons. Doesn't make it hurt any less. She glanced at his scar. And you? What kind of hurt are you hiding? He didn't answer. Instead, he stood and pulled out a journal from behind the counter. My therapist told me to write letters to the people I couldn't talk to anymore. Never send them. Just write. Want to try it? Letters Never Sent. Madeline began writing. At first, they were messy, angry, confusing. Letters to Andrew, to herself, even to the life she thought she'd have by now. And slowly, she found herself staying longer at the bookstore, talking to Liam about literature, loss, and the strange peace that comes from saying things out loud. One evening, Liam walked her to her car. The city lights shimmered on the wet pavement. Have you ever thought about sending one of those letters? He asked. I don't think I'd survive the answer, she replied. He nodded. Or maybe you've already survived the worst part, he said gently. They didn't kiss, but their hands brushed, and the warmth lingered long after she drove away. Truth Hurts. Madeline finally replied to the letter. She didn't pour her heart out, just asked one question. Why now? 2 weeks later, she received a response. Because I have cancer, Mads, and I couldn't go without telling you the truth. I left because I was diagnosed with early-onset Parkinson's. I thought I was protecting you, but I was a coward. She dropped the letter. Tears came in waves, grief, rage, confusion. She didn't know what to feel. That night, she went to Liam. She didn't speak as he opened the door, just cried into his chest as he held her without asking anything. They stayed that way for hours. Broken things. I think I still love him, she whispered one morning. But I don't know if it's love or guilt. Liam didn't reply right away. Then he said, Love and guilt are neighbors. Sometimes they share the same kitchen. She laughed through her tears. That's the strangest metaphor I've ever heard. But it made you laugh. She looked at him. Why are you always here? Because I want to be, and because I know what it's like to watch someone die and feel like you couldn't stop it. She froze. Liam exhaled. I lost my younger brother in a fire. I was a firefighter then. I couldn't get to him in time. Silence fell. 2 broken people, slowly rebuilding. The visit. Madeline drove to Oregon. She met Andrew at a small care facility. He looked different, thinner, but his smile was the same. I never stopped loving you, he said. I know, she whispered. They talked for hours, about the past, about what could have been. Before she left, she said, I forgive you, but I don't love you the same way anymore. He nodded. You shouldn't. Love deserves more than just memory. Real love. Back in Seattle, she found Liam waiting outside her building with a single daffodil. You didn't have to wait, she said. I wasn't sure you'd come back. I wasn't sure I would either. They stood in silence. Then she asked, Do you believe in timing? I believe in choosing. Every day. She stepped closer. Then I'm choosing you. He kissed her soft, unhurried, like a question he already knew the answer to. And for the first time in years, Madeline felt the past fade behind her. The pain didn't disappear, but it no longer owned her. She had letters she never sent, and love she finally chose to receive.